Howdy folks, your Princess Chaoticayana here, and first thing you're all going to do is drop into the comment section, type a quick thank you to my friend Saz. Her comment is the reason you're all getting to see the parasitic brainworm hat. Welcome to the second week of spooky season. Last week we took a look at the top 5 Halloween video games that were suitable for kids, and there'll be a link above my head here somewhere. But to every head there is a tails, to every yin there is a yang, to every dong there is a ding. Little bit future Ayana. This week we're going to take a look at 5 video games that are Halloween suitable but are absolutely not kid friendly. Let's check it out. So, a couple of quick caveats here folks. First off, this video is not going to be especially child friendly, which I would hope would be obvious, but consider this your warning. Second, just to clarify a bit of confusion up front, to make this list there has to be a logical reason why you think these games were suitable for kids in the first place. Otherwise I'd just be writing a list of 5 spooky games. For that reason, you're not going to see something like Outlast on here. If you take a look at the cover for Outlast and you think, yep, little Tommy will love this come Halloween, I can't help you, honestly. Now, with that in mind, number 1 on our list, Typing of the Dead Overkill on PC. So, probably seems like an odd first pick, right? Well, bear with me on this one because it involves a little history. Back in the day, you might remember an arcade title called House of the Dead 2. And if you owned either a Dreamcast keyboard, the few of you that did, or a PC at the time, the version that you might have played might have been called Typing of the Dead. Heck, I played it to death and my typing is probably all the better for it, but it's a tricky thing to find a copy of these days, or at least a legitimate one. As you can see, the game looks a bit like one of those light gun games, but instead of firing a gun at the screen, you're typing words on the keyboard. And so you might find yourself on Steam looking for something fun to help your kid with their typing, and then you might type in Typing of the Dead, remembering that fun game you played, and see Typing of the Dead Overkill, thinking it's what you remember from back in the day. It is not. First off, the game literally holds the record for most swearing in a video game in the Guinness Book of World Records. It might actually still hold this, I had a bit of trouble finding that out. Second, and this is going to be a theme of sorts for this list, times have moved on and the game certainly looks a lot more realistic than its arcade predecessors did. The game is inherently a love letter to grindhouse style cinema, and it plays into all of those tropes visually and thematically. It's a great game if you want to improve your typing skills, but it is very much one to keep away from kids. I'm afraid they can go back to Mavis Beacon. Wait, Future Ayana, was that her name? Yeah, that's the one. Number 2 on our list, Doom 3 on multiple platforms. Not gonna lie to you, this one was almost cut in favour of its more recent updates, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Those games are certainly more violent, it's true, but what gave Doom 3 the edge here was its leaning into horror thematically, and the fact that it re-released alongside the original Doom and Doom 2 recently. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, I have a 6-year-old Lathander, and you could debate the merits of whether him playing the original Doom are a good thing or bad thing. But hell, kids younger than him play Fortnite, and at least here you're fighting demons. Plus, again, I'm not one for visuals being everything, but as you can see in the next entry, they do matter. You might disagree with me on this point, but, well, imagine if the Mario games were photorealistic when you were curb-stomping dinosaurs, and then tell me you'd let your kid play it. Graphics do matter. Short answer to me, anyway, is that Doom and Doom 2 are probably fine for your kids if you're curating while they play. Doom 3, though, is the moment the graphics in this series took a real step up from that boxy pixel art form, and that really makes a world of difference to what it feels like to play one of these games. Plus, it really dialed down the frantic action and it went for some far more demonic-themed scares. Honestly, when I played this back recently on the Switch, there was some stuff in here that set me on edge if I was playing in a dark room at night, and I'm allegedly an adult. Keep your kids away from this one, at least until you think they're ready to handle demonic baby heads. And number 3, Hollow on the Switch. You'll be wanting to keep your kids away from this one because you want them to play something they're actually going to enjoy. Oh, alright. Actually, number 3, Breathing Fear on the Switch. A game I'm choosing for this list because you might initially be given to thinking it's a childish horror title, given its pixel art style. Nope. I'm not going to drop into full review mode here, but this game manages to do a lot with very little when it comes to scares. The atmosphere of moving through an abandoned dark house with an even darker history and being given so little direction. Then having one of your main objectives be to keep your character from getting scared as they solve the mystery. Everything is extremely relatable and grounded right until it isn't and something truly spooky happens. That's ultimately why I can't recommend this one for kids. The environment and the way in which the player is sucked in is all far too relatable to the real world, despite the game's simplistic appearance. Don't let the childish appearance of the art fool you. There's evil lurking here. Number 4, Bendy and the Ink Machine on multiple platforms. Another game which makes our list today, not so much because it's advertised to kids, but because the artwork might look as though that's what's happening. And that's not deliberate in this case, so much as just a product of what the game's about. The titular Bendy is a children's cartoon mascot, or at least was before his creators left him to be forgotten by the world, and he has decided to seek revenge on all of them. Also, this is a tangent of sort, but if you think it sounds unlikely that a beloved children's mascot could be forgotten that way, and you want a little bit of a creep factor for Halloween, go and look up Oswald the Rabbit. Anyway, what follows is a puzzle game in a very cartoon-based art style that also consists of those cartoon characters attempting to murder you, to say nothing of setting terrifying ink monsters on you at every available opportunity. The game sets out to make the character uncomfortable from the first moment, and succeeds resoundingly well. So if your kids ask if they can play the game with the funny-looking cartoon character on the thumbnail, maybe tell them to leave that one alone for the time being. And finally, number 5 on the list of games you shouldn't let your kids play at Halloween, Resident Evil 7 on multiple platforms. What's that I can hear coming through the winds of the internet? The cries rising up from my tiny but very dedicated fanbase going, yes, obviously you total moron. Here's the thing, okay? This one actually ticked a lot of boxes when I was making this list. First off, as a parent, you may, as has come up several times in this list, compare the game to other games in the series that you played while you were younger. Awesome, it's not 1996 and video games just don't look like this anymore. But you're okay with graphics being more photorealistic. Well, that might be a fine reason to let your older kids play maybe the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, Resident Evil 4 and 5, and maybe even if they've done something to upset you, Resident Evil 6. But there's just something different about Resident Evil 7 in terms of its atmosphere, its anxiety in building gameplay, and its really grounded setting. To put it in movie terms, this is a bit like saying your kid's seen Shaun of the Dead or hell even Train to Busan, and deciding that means they're going to be totally fine watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre or even Wreck 2. You're just not comparing like with like. For that reason, I absolutely can't recommend letting your kids anywhere near this one. Let them find it themselves a few years down the line, and hopefully they'll appreciate being able to sleep on Halloween night. So folks, that is my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have some picks of your own? I would love to hear them. Please do drop me a comment. It really helps out the video. Now, this is not going to be my only video this week. Keep an eye peeled on Halloween. You might see something special waiting in your subscription list, if you have subscribed, which you should. I will see you all then, folks. Peace. I'm out.